Welcome to Go For Side Effects. I'm your host, Kevin Simon. Y'all know my co-host, John. How are you doing?
Yeah, doing good. Thanks, man.
And we have the round table with Wade and Sarah. How are y'all two doing today?
Doing great.
That's what I like to hear. I see y'all had to bring y'all's Army flags, against the Navy fight. We're still going to kick your ass in football.
Yeah,
And so we brought Katie back. Katie, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. Sorry, I'm getting my charger. But I'm good, doing good.
Now, Katie, the reason why I brought you back, well, for a couple reasons. You were doing what the heck, a show or a fundraiser. What the hell am I thinking of? When we last talked, do you remember that, John? Help me out here.
Oh, you're depending on my memory. You're
Oh, yeah, that's pretty bad, ain't it?
Hurt. Yeah,
Okay,
that's not a good idea.
so
Depend on my
I want to say was something about is hunting, fishing, golf, tennis,
Fishing, yeah, the fly fishing project.
fly fishing. That's what it was. I knew it was something. How was that
Yeah,
going?
it's Project Healing Waters. It's going well. We're going to Tennessee, to the South Holston River this weekend. So
Look at that, man. I want to tell you that's the kind of shit I want to get involved with. Woo! Fishing.
right. I mean, it's a national program. It's in every state. So
I mean, it really is. It really is in every state. So with the round table tonight, I want to, let Katie kind of give her little bio a little bit, tell everybody about, when you were in the service, the branch, blah, 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 the usual stuff.
okay. Well, I was in the Navy from 1998 until 2004. And I got out as a storekeeper, second class petty officer, and I am now a disabled veteran, 100%. I did go to college and become a teacher for autism between all that, but now I'm just hanging out and trying to get better. Having some health problems, had a lot of surgeries and things. So that's what's going on now.
I tell you what, it seems with a lot of Go For vets. I mean, everywhere around, just it's everything. And now, Sarah, I want you to do a little bio about what your program is doing right now.
Okay. Well, in case you aren't familiar with who I am, my name is Sarah Boyd. I'm the president and founder of Operation Truth Vaccination Exposure Research, 501c3 charity built to bring awareness to our vaccine-injured veteran demographic and the need for medical research. So what we're trying to achieve is much like what we've already achieved. Well, not we, but our fellow veteran community have already achieved through the PACT Act and everything we have for our current Go For Illness system through DC mandate. What we are hoping to achieve is gain funding for that critical medical research so that we can gain those same presumptives for our vaccine injured service member and veteran community. We're planning on going to DC this September. So a lot of what we're doing right now is gearing up for that September trip. We need as much help as we can, including donations and funding to get there, as well as vendors and fellow veteran organizations or civilian organizations that would like to join us. Our plan is to have a rally, a march, and a concert, I believe all on one day, and we'll have more information as we get there. But to bring awareness here, both locally and nationally, we've started joining different events, whether they're veteran organizations or not. We've hit a lot of barriers in our veteran community, and it's unfortunate that there is so much personal bias that they wouldn't allow us to join them at their veteran events. Here in Michigan, fortunately, the VA has allowed us to join them, and they will be allowing us to join them for every PACT Act event here in Michigan for the entire year. So we're looking forward to that and bringing awareness across the nation. So if you are a veteran or a civilian or anyone that is either injured or an ally of a chronic multi-symptom illness or Go For illness patient and would like to help us out nationally, the VA has these PACT Act events across the nation. to try to bring this information to our veterans and service members. So we are trying to bring that information that the VA is not telling our veterans and service members, so that not only they can get that critical diagnostic and treatment protocol, but they can also get that compensation and pension and know what that looks like in the body. Because if we can understand what vaccine injury looks like in the body, we can prevent it from occurring and stop continuing to make more vaccine injured patients.
Wow,
So
no,
that's
that's
what our
right.
main mission is right now.
And then, I want also, well, if there's a concert, can I come sing?
Absolutely.
What the
Oh,
hell
oh,
are
oh,
y'all
oh,
all laughing
oh,
at? How do y'all know I
whoa.
cannot sing? All right, I can't sing, but damn, I'd make it.
Give
I'd
us
make it
a
fun.
little bit of how you sound. Let's hear how you belt out the national anthem real quick.
Hell no, I do that.
It's all right.
Wade, I want
Yes,
you to
sir.
give you a little bit of background and a little bio about yourself. Since we are starting out on going on the third year, I want everybody kind of bring a little bio out.
Yeah, so I served in infantry battalion in the 82nd Airborne. Served in Desert Shield, Desert Storm. As all you guys know, I've been kind of active with Gulf War illness since about 1995. My big parade and that I've been trying to triumph is standing behind Dr. Nicholson and his research. Recently, there has been a new Facebook group formed for his product, NT Factor, that we've had Dr. Nicholson on in the past. N as in Nancy, T as in Tom, Factor for the Facebook group. You can just search that. A friend of mine named Steve Melton and myself are administrators for that. Currently, Dr. Nicholson is recruiting female-specific veterans with female-specific problems for his recent study. I just got confirmation for that before we came on. If there's a way that we can put up a contact information, Kevin, to get for Dr. Nicholson for those females who'd be interested, and that is for Desert Shield and Desert Storm specific. And that's pretty much what I champion. I'm diehard Army, diehard Airborne. And I'm just driving on and just trying to spread the word. I try to help one veteran at a time. I know we try to reach the masses here. That's why I was glad to come across you in this group. Still on the side, I go one veteran at a time. I feel like I've had some pretty good success. A lot of guys come back to me and say they knew nothing about Gulf War illness, or they were stuck. Just work with them one-on-one, point them in the right direction. I can't do it for them. And, kind of like we discussed in the past, veterans got to take ownership of everything of themselves. And, we can't do it for them. They gotta do it themselves. So I'm just glad to be part of this group and, reach out and, help each other up. We lift each other up for this.
All right. John, I want you too. I want you to give a little bio about yourself. You good looking animal.
Army, engineers, Gulf War. Feel like shit. There's my bio. No, I mean,
All right.
I got the short end of the stick. I had to backfill into the 249th Engineers. From the 79th Engineers, I was deployed from Germany. Came back to Germany. Our unit deactivated while we were there, and we combat engineers, but I was construction engineers, so we fell under the umbrella of the combat engineers. So was never a 12 Bravo. That was the old MOS. Now I think combat engineers are 50. No, it's a 12 series. I had it right the first time. It changed. And by the way, I got a flippy shit, Wade. Nancy, Tom, really? It's November Tango, dude.
I was gonna say
Oh,
that.
thanks for the correction, Leg.
Sorry.
So
I was like, no. I was like, really?
I'll give y'all a little.
on.
I want to give everybody a little bio about myself. I was on board the USS San Jose, United States Navy, 89, 93. I'm pissed off about what happened to us all over there. And this is why I created this. This is why, we're up here spreading awareness about Gulf War illness. I want everybody to follow us on Facebook. Go to YouTube. Subscribe. Tell your friends to subscribe. The more we get the word out there, the better off we all. And it doesn't matter with Operation Truth, Gulf War side effects, Gulf War illness, the sea troopers, all that stuff. We're all in this together. And that's why we have a round table. And I think it's important to remember for each and every one of us out there, we're all dealing with the same VA. It may be in different places, but it's the same VA. And so, like, Katie, in this one, I want to bring you in because you live in the beautiful part of the United States, to be honest. I remember that night. Hey, you remember the night with the mountains and everything?
Yeah.
I mean, it's gorgeous out there. So, with the stuff that you're going through, have you seen any more improvement with the VA?
No, I haven't really done much with them lately, to be honest.
I just
deal with myself more. It's so hard because it's 45 minutes away from me. That's hard for me right now as a single mom with 3 kids to try to juggle getting them from school, taking them to school, things like that, and then be at appointments and stuff like that. And it's been hard lately. I won't lie.
Yeah, and
What state you in, Katie?
North Carolina.
North Carolina. I couldn't remember if it was north or south. I knew it was Carolina.
Is that in East Texas?
There's some pros to it being beautiful here, but I'm kind of in the middle of nowhere.
No, right. I mean, that's a good point. I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of people they like to sit on their back porch and not see their neighbors around. But
right.
With it being said, we all got different years here. I mean, even age-wise, I'm the youngest of the group. And what? I'm just trying.
You keep going with that, Chief.
I'm in the middle of that group. Well, no, one's above me. I'm sorry, son of a gun. I just realized way younger than me.
You keep on going with age. Go ahead, step in the hot water. Go ahead, ask one of the ladies.
No.
Both barrels.
All they have to do is tell me the years that they were in. I know then. I'm fine. I mean, that tells me everything I need to know. And so when we're all sitting out there and we're all dealing with the VA, we're all dealing with all this, there needs to be better changes and solutions. And I found out in Abilene, Texas, that their VA system is horrible. I found out El Paso don't even have a VA system. It takes 3 years. 3 freaking years to get enrolled in the VA system to see a primary care physician.
In El Paso?
Yes.
Really?
I know here the only thing backs up is like dental. Because I make a dentist appointment, it takes me about a year to get one, even if something's wrong with my tooth. Apparently. So that's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
You can't do care in the community there, Katie?
You can, but they're weird about it up here. Like they'll say, oh, well, you've got an appointment in a year. And I'm like, well, can I not get community care? Because I thought that if it was more than 30 days out, I could get community care. And they're like, oh, well, not with dental or not with, they always have some kind of excuse as to why I can't get community care. But I will go demand community care for certain things like women's health here. I refuse to go to the women's health center here. So I refuse it and will go to the advocate and make them give me community care. I don't care because I will get upset because I will not see the doctors they have there. I do not like them.
But that's good. That's good that you can go to the advocate and the advocate will do something for you, because there's a lot of places. I mean, the VA system, I think as I know it in the Houston area, is pretty good. Like I was asked the next time I go to the VA in Houston, go to the oncology and see how many people are in there waiting. Because Texas only has two oncology in the whole state.
That's crazy.
That's it.
2 places to go. Dallas doesn't have one. I'm like, so I gotta start researching this stuff. This out of every damn hospital should have one. And so,
Yeah.
like, Wade, when you were talking about the NT factor, and I know you are a strong proponent and of Dr. Nicholson. We had him on our show, and I will be honest with you, that man to me was a genius. He really was, and he's welcomed anytime to come on our show and talk. And Desert Storm women that y'all were in, y'all need to get in the study. This guy has helped his daughter, and he wants to help you. And so, Sarah, up in your area, how's your VA system going there since the PACT Act? That's what tonight I basically want to talk about. Is let's talk about the PACT Act, and have y'all seen any changes in any other care or anything, Sarah?
When it comes to Michigan and the PACT Act, speaking from my own experience, I think they're doing a great job. They're having multiple events, just about one every month, to bring information across the state, regardless of where you're at. Um, uh, it's all throughout different locations, whether it's a VFW, American Legion, or a non-affiliated veteran organization. So they're really trying their do their due diligence to get that information out there. They're allowing other organizations to join them to ensure that our veteran demographic is getting all the pertinent information, not just for their compensation and pension, but for their treatment protocol as well. I think that's why it's extremely important for our organizations to get in contact with the VA so that we can work with them to show our veteran demographic that there are other treatment protocols like the ATP supplement, like cannabis, the stem cell patches, and so many other hyperbaric chambers and treatment protocols that our veteran demographic are seeing amazing benefits from these different toxic exposures, whatever you have been exposed to. Which brings me to the next point, that if you are unfamiliar of what exactly which toxin exposure you're exposed to, you're not going to have um, a great time being able to effectively treat that toxic exposure, which is why it's so important you do your root cause analysis. When you go through your risk evaluation, that's what they're supposed to do. So if you're going through that risk evaluation and you have not received your root cause analysis and determine exactly which toxin caused your exposure, they are not done with that process. And uh, I was brain damage. Damn it. Um, that it is such an important part of your diagnostic and treatment protocol to get that root cause analysis, to be understanding of your medical case file, and to truly find what the treatment protocol will work specifically for your toxic exposure, whether that be detox or what have you. As far as Michigan, PACT Act and toxic screening, I have an amazing um, positive to share with the group. Um, it was an amazing feat that I had accomplished. Back in 2015, I went to the dean of medicine at the Seattle VA and requested I was seen outside of the VA at the University of Washington, where I received very critical testing called QSARTS testing to determine that I had autonomic neuropathy. At that time, back in 2015, there was uh, no specialist that I could see, so I was sent to the Mayo Clinic. I was sent to the Mayo Clinic 3 times, and they denied my care. They said they no longer are taking patients of your kind. So I went back to Washington State last year to not only get my risk evaluation, but be seen by the diagnosing doctor that diagnosed me with autonomic neuropathy. That doctor had no clue how to treat an autonomic neuropathy patient, only diagnose. So if you are an autonomic neuropathy patient or any type of specific neurological specialty, any neurologist is not going to be helpful to you. I have been fighting the VA system to get them to pay for me to see an autonomic neuropathy specialist since 2015. I have successfully done so. They are finally sending me to the Cleveland Clinic to be seen by an autonomic neuropathy specialist who has over 20 years experience in all types of autoimmune conditions that cause autonomic neuropathy. And so I'm feeling very confident that I will finally get the proper diagnostic and treatment call needed for that autonomic neuropathy.
That's good. Heck, well, you're
Awesome.
finally getting something done. That's
The
really good.
Cleveland The Cleveland Clinic, for those that don't know, is I think like right up there with the Mayo Clinic, if not
Yeah.
the better of the two. Very knowledgeable doctors, and for those that aren't aware, the War Related Injury and Illness Study Center is our VA equivalent, the Mayo and Cleveland Clinic. So
Well,
it's imperative that you get to the risk centers for your diagnostic evaluation.
well, I know this. You know, like barbers, as myself, we're treated like we're doctors. We specialize in why your hair falls out. That's because you're kids. Why your hair turns gray. I'm not gonna say it. Um, and you know all
You're also
kinds of
a
things.
psychologist too. We like to go through
No, I'm
and
the
share
worst.
all our
I
things.
am the worst psychologist because I literally will tell. I no, don't ever follow my advice when you're sitting in my barber chair because it's not going to be good. And everything. And so, like Wade, how about the pact act with you up there? How has it been? Well, I guess that
Um,
would be for you and John, right? Because would that be the same area?
yeah, same system. I go to Iowa City, John. Where do you go through the Des Moines system?
Primarily, yeah.
Yeah, Iowa
I mean,
City. It's easy to get appointments there. I cannot complain. They have an agreement where they coincide with the University of Iowa. Treatment's top notch. The PACT Act. They don't have very many meetings or educational things like Sarah was talking about. That's mostly done through the veterans organizations. Um, they do have the toxic exposure exams that you can do. Long waiting list. Nothing I'm interested in doing, to be honest with you. They a lot of things that I've seen. The one thing that they've done down here, what I've kind of seen on different groups nationwide, is they've taken the comp and pen exams away from VA doctors and they've contracted it out. One of the places, I don't know, I'll probably get in trouble. I don't care. The company's called QTC.
Oh
Their
yeah,
contract.
yeah.
Um, in my personal opinion, they are worthless. In a matter of a 5-minute exam, I was supposed to be examined by a specialist, and he was a nurse practitioner who specialized in Botox injections, is what her outside specialty was. So anyway, I was a little disgruntled about that, but I think they're completely worthless.
But you know what?
Um,
But with that being said, I'm sorry to interrupt,
but
but the reason I did that is because I got a buddy of mine, same place, not in Iowa, Texas, same group, same situation. Supposed to go see a MD specialist. Got sent to a nurse practitioner, general wellness doctor. And I'm like, what the hell? Like, and his was for cancer.
hey,
And
Katie, do you have? We're getting a whole lot of static. Is that coming from Katie's end?
It could have. Sorry, I was trying to get my phone plugged back up. My pool lights flipped off.
Oh,
Oh, okay.
And it flipped off my electricity. Sorry.
yeah, no, it's all right. And so keep going, Wade. I apologize.
Oh no, I'm just saying. There's just, Iowa healthcare is top notch when it comes to the VA. You cannot go wrong. I've seen a number of specialists for a certain issue. They sent me to every damn specialist they could. I got top notch care. I cannot complain. One thing, if I can just throw it in while we're on the topic, and I got this. I think one thing what we as veterans should be asking for. I see a lot of people on some of these groups calling for veterans to jump into all these research programs. Veterans, let's jump in and do research. And I'm all for research. I've done myself a lot of research programs.
Right.
Been poked and prodded. I've traveled all over the nation at my own expense. I'm going to start asking for accountability for these research programs. I don't care what doctor, what organization, what university. If you're being funded by Department of Defense or VA money, I want to see how much money those individual researchers are making off of those dollars. And then what are the results that we, the veterans, are getting for those dollars? I think it's a bunch of bullshit, to be honest with you. And if I have to pay my money to fly to San Francisco, sit out there for 3 days, pay my lodging, my food, and then fly home, I want to know how much that researcher's making from DoD money to do that research study. I don't think that's too much to ask for, and that's for all of them. So that's just my 2 minutes.
No, I think that's fair enough, because I know that we've had some folks on mentioning, hey, they have research going on, and you have a valid point. Hey, and the amount of money, if a veteran's going to go travel, whatever the travel is, it should be, more than just bare bones minimum. Because like you're saying, they're certainly making money off the research. They're not doing it for free. They have to be funded somehow. And so, yes, the veterans going to do that should definitely be compensated more than just bare bones, because we're the ones that are going through the issues that you're trying to figure out. Give us a little bit of money more than just, the bare minimum flight. I mean,
well, I
like Ross Camp. I've been down to Ross Camp twice, which is great. I love them down there. I think they're doing great work. But both times it cost me a lot of money. So and that's fine. But who's funding Ross? If Ross Camp's doing it by private donations, so be it.
Okay, but I got to ask this: do they give you your results?
No, they do not. That's the thing.
And that's what I think. Where they all need to be held accountable for, right there.
Now during a research study, they let you, and that's fine. I had a study done on my hippocampus. They're not going to give me my results unless they're really horrible and I'm going to die from it. They're not going to give you the results because they're going to compare those to other veterans. And I understand that. And I get that.
But they can't put it on a piece of paper. They can't put it on a damn piece of paper and say, hey, here's what your results are. We're keeping your results, but here's a copy of them, and we'll compare them. And where is all that information?
Well, they're comparing it. Like, so if there's 50 veterans in this study, they're going to compare all 50 veterans. And I get that, and that's fine. But if I have to spend $1,500 of my own money, I think that's wrong. They should be flipping the bill to get me there, to lodge me and feed me while I'm doing their study, is what I'm saying. And that's all these people say, come do this study, go do that study. Okay, I'll go do any study they want at any time, but you pay for it. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I know. I totally agree. Now,
when I did Dr. Nicholson's study, I didn't pay one dime. I'll leave it right there.
Hey, have you gone through any studies, Katie?
No, I have not. I have not even heard of. No one's even talked to me about a study period ever.
Really? Huh. I mean,
but I said, I had 6 anthrax shots done, so I'm pretty sure there's plenty to find out about me inside of that.
Yeah. Okay. So let's say, Katie, that you have a very serious problem. And
yes,
are you able to, like, is there a hospital that's close by that you can go to because of the VA? Or, I mean, that the VA will pay for?
I mean, they'll pay for the hospital, but you have to call this number within 48 hours and all this other stuff and get approved and then get the approval sent to the hospital. It's a lot of work.
No, especially
And
if you
then
have.
trying to get medicine after you've been to the hospital, because I get my medications, from the VA free. So if I'm at the hospital, I'm not going to get free medicine there. So trying to get all that worked out, and the VA closed here and there's no hospital or outpatient here, like it gets really hard because the outpatient from me is actually about an hour and 15 minutes away from me.
Holy
You really are. You sound actually about the same deal as me. I'm 45 minutes from the closest CBOC. I said earlier to Wade that Des Moines is my main, which it's not. It's a small town, Marshalltown, Iowa. That's where I would typically go to see my provider. But it's 45 minutes. So now that being said, I got a question pertaining to traveling to get treatment. What are you guys told, like, for chiropractic care? I got my local guy here saying he's had other veterans that got approval for chiropractic care, and I get mixed comments from my providers as to whether they'll pay for care in the community. It's depending on the mileage, I think. Is that right? The mileage and how long before you can get in. Like if you can't get in 30 days, then you can go to care in the community. You guys experience the same thing?
I had community care when I did it.
You did?
Yeah.
Really? You,
Yeah.
especially because you're right. I mean, you're really close to Iowa City. So what is it? You're less than a half an hour from Iowa City, right?
Yeah, and they authorized 15 treatments.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh? In a year? 15? I'm assuming for a year.
Just
Or
15
total?
15 treatments. Yeah, and then it was renewable.
Huh.
But I asked nice though, John. I went in, I smiled. I was nice when I did it. If you project niceness, you can catch more flies with honey.
You were no. I mean, I get it. I don't go. I'm not. I'm not a complete dick. I'm just.
almost.
Wow! Wow!
Well, just say you don't want brought up. I mean, I'm just saying. I mean, but I go in, I don't scream and yell. I mean,
Now come on now it's getting deep.
no, I don't. If I go in there, I mean, you can ask my wife when they messed up my head where I want to go crazy and I was thinking suicidal thoughts. My wife even said, whatever you do, don't blame them. It's not the doctor's fault, or they're not the anybody's fault, and except for the system. I said, okay, because I don't normally when doctor says something. If I get pissed, I go to congressman, but apparently they don't give a shit neither anymore.
I've gone to the senators before.
Well, I'll tell you what. While I walked in there, I felt like I was going to have to hold my wife back. She was getting mad. I said, I got in a car. I said, I thought you said for me not to get mad.
I've got mad a couple of times at the VA myself. One time I had a cane, and that was not a good thing for me to be mad with a cane, apparently.
Right. I mean,
I
but
pointed at everybody.
you didn't hit anybody with it, did you?
No, I just pointing it at people.
Now, the only
That were
time
making me
that I
upset.
got mad was whenever they brought in a practicing nurse practitioner, and she was like, "I'm going to be your new doctor." I said, "Oh, great!" She introduced her name, and then she was like, "So, what are you here for today?" And I said, "Well, what's on my record?" And she goes, "Well, I haven't really went over it." I said, "Well, have you ever heard of Gulf War illness?" Well, no. And I got up, shook her hand. I said, "Very nice to meet you." And I walked out the door. And I
Really?
yeah. And then when I walked out, the head doctor walked out, the one in charge of them, and was like, "Hi, Mr. Simon." I said, "Look, we got to talk." So I got put with another guy. And this guy's like, "Hey, I'm going to start looking into it." And he acted like he really cared. And like my primary care physician, I love her. She's good. But and my gastro, I think she's great. I like the neurologist if sometimes, because all they want to do is go up on your medicine. But everybody else, I like the heart doctor. Like, we got really good heart doctors. Everybody just loves him half to death. And so, have y'all ever dealt with anything with the heart going into the VA with your heart? Have any of y'all?
No.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
So there's
Yes.
two tests that they can do. One of them is they can shoot you up with something, make your heart speed up, and this, or the treadmill. Here's a guy with neuropathy, and the guy's like, all right, I'm going to put you on the treadmill. I'm thinking, son of a bitch. So I'm going, and I'm going, and I'm running, and man, I'm like, yeah. Well, I get to, I guess, number 6 level where it starts going up. And finally I said, hey, man, I'm going to have to stop. Is this almost done? He goes, hell, you were done a long time ago. I just want to see how far you would go. And I looked over at him. He thought that was so funny. But what he said was amazing was my heart was able to control itself. And they did echocardiograms on me, all that stuff. And so they're really good. But
Kevin, that other test you're talking about, the nuclear stress test.
Yeah.
That one.
Yeah.
That I would rather, and I've had them both. I would rather have a prostate biopsy. And I'm not shitting you, and I've had them both. I will never do that test ever again because it's basically a heart attack induced.
Is it really?
Yes. They shoot you full of some nuclear shit and put you in a machine and then to take a picture of your heart, and it feels like a 500-pound elephant sitting on your chest. I will never have it, but that was my heart thing we were talking about. They were saying, well, yeah, I was like, no, I think you need to rethink it. I ain't doing it.
Sarah, John, any of y'all else had that done?
I've had the stuff put in my veins to check and stuff, and I didn't experience that. But of course, when you get in this, what is it?
That's because you don't have a heart.
Wow.
Cold ass.
What did I do? What did I do to piss you? God, you're just hammering me. Will you lighten up already?
You paused just long enough that I was able to get that in. I wanted to try to do it to Wade. I want to do it to Wade, but Wade was like, I'm not giving Kevin a chance to say anything smart ass.
So lesson learned, I just can't stutter step when I'm talking in front of Kevin.
Good point.
So that being said, any of my tests were done at Iowa City actually before I was service connected. So I actually have not used the VA specifically for my heart. I mean, I always have high blood pressure, and they always get freaked out whenever somebody checks my blood pressure, and like, whoa, is it always this high? Oh, getting all panicky. And I said, nah, it's always that high. But no, I haven't done the treadmill. Well, I did it way years ago. I, didn't quite have a heart attack, but, maybe close. I remember I told the guy I needed to stretch out before I get on the treadmill. I'm kind of a big guy. He chuckled at me. I said, why you be a smart ass? I didn't say, look at Wade, losing it. Stretch out. My fat ass stretching out.
I'm so glad you did not pause because I had a really good comment. I just want you to know that right now. My comment was going to be, I'll just keep that shit to myself right now. So now, Sarah, you said that you did a stress test like that.
I have done both the stress test and the chemical stress test. As the doctors try to find out more information about you, they'll do a process of elimination. And so they knew that I had autonomic neuropathy and what that was involved, but there are so many ignorant doctors out there. They're so narrow-minded focused. They can't see the body as a whole body perspective. So instead of understanding how autonomic neuropathy presents in the body, they decided they wanted to do all these other tests to make sure that my heart wasn't involved and I didn't have any problems with the heart itself and the cardiovascular system itself. But what we're finding in our growth hormone illness and toxic exposure patients is that a lot of these symptoms and these patterns of behavior, they mirror each other. So that makes it even more difficult to determine exactly what's causing those symptoms. So if it sounds to me that
I'm the only heartless one
Kevin,
here.
that you don't have autonomic neuropathy from the test that you have experienced, because you're not experiencing that abnormality that POTS is that postural orthostatic tachycardia syndrome that we're seeing in so many other patients. So that's great that you're conducting these tests to, through the process of elimination, to try to determine exactly what's causing your diagnoses and symptoms.
Well,
So,
I
but
found out what caused mine is my B12 gets low due to no B12 spores. And so, it is amazing. But I just want to know, so my next question is for Katie on this one.
Yeah.
So when you were going to the VA, they do all these tests and all this. When you first go in, you first to meet them. So did they ever send you to like every different specialist, gastro, heart, all this stuff when you got out?
Not until I went, like, I think I was about 30%, and then I was asking for an increase in a lot of things. Then they started sending me to some specialties, but not all of them. Like I went to, that's how I ended up getting the asthma, because they sent me through, what is that called again? I can't think right now, but whatever, the breathing doctor. They sent me to that place, and then they also did some stuff on my back and my neck, but it was only stuff that I had complained about. It wasn't like they were like, oh, you need to go get checked out here and here and here and here, or anything like that.
Well, see, and that's what I'm finding out. Like a lot of the post 9/11 and all them guys, like when they go through their stuff, it seems like they go through it different. And by the way, John, a lot of people are commenting that they go see an outside chiropractor. So you might want to ask about that.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
good. I appreciate
I'll
that.
come crack your damn back.
How you're like knee high to a grasshopper. You ain't got no,
I got
I
a
mean, how you got?
sledgehammer. That crap will work just as good.
I would like to say though, if you're going to do chiropractic care, it's very important that you either include some type of massage therapy or something to help
Now we're talking. Hell yeah.
loosen up the muscle groups, or you're not going to have any
They
effect.
didn't say with a happy ending. They just
Hey, I can tell you right there when that we're not getting into that conversation. What I'm going to tell you is though you're right, because when you go to, like, I know a guy that has a former MS, but the only thing that is keeping him alive is a chiropractor. They told him at the age of 19 that he would be dead by the age of like 25. He's 45, goes to chiropractor every day. He cracks every day. Cracks, has to crack all of his bones just
Well,
so
let
he
me
can
tell
walk.
you why he probably has to go every day. Is because those bony structures are being pulled out of alignment due to his muscle structures being too tight, and he's not probably including either a muscle relaxer, massage therapy, or something else
No,
to
no,
help
no.
loosen up those muscle structures. They keep
He
continuing to
has
pull them out of their bony alignment, and so he has to continue to go back to the chiropractor. I'm not saying chiropractic work is bad. I'm
right,
saying that it shouldn't be done on its own. It's
right,
not as effective
right.
on its
But he has to, because it was either that or he would have died. And
yeah.
and there was a guy that literally said, "Hey," and he's a specialist in chiropractic, and from the it starts at your feet. It's the MS that starts at your feet, works all the way up to your brain. And he uses a walker when he comes in. But if it wasn't for that chiropractor, he would not be walking today. I mean, I can literally, like, when he walks in, you think you're bad, you ain't seen shit. And this guy has a smile on his face every damn day.
well,
So
I'm kind of curious.
What MS is that it's the myelin sheath deteriorating around the
right,
neurons.
right.
And so I'm not sure what other treatment is doing. I'm sure it's not just chiropractic care, but I can see the benefit of why that would be assisting, ensuring that flow of neurons can be as effective as
Oh,
possible.
he doesn't go to the doctor
There's
anymore.
no impingement on his bony structures.
I know for a fact he doesn't go. Now, Florida did offer a special thing that they're doing that they may have found something, so he's doing tests on that. Now, what were you going to say, John?
Well, you said this gentleman has MS.
Yes.
Well, I guess my curiosity is just as curiosity because I don't. Why why would he die if he didn't go to the chiropractor every day? I'm just curious. I don't.
Well, the way I've always heard him talk about it is because by then he would be in a wheelchair. He's keeping his body flowing.
Okay.
Everything
All right.
going through
Yes,
that's
that's
way
what I was trying to explain.
right.
If your bony structures are impinging your nerves, then it's going to be even more difficult for his MS to get those nerve
Right.
signals through that channel. So, yes, chiropractor has its benefits. I'm just saying if you're going to use it, it'll be more effective either having a muscle relaxer to ensure the muscle structures are loosened enough to allow those bony structures to realign and stay realigned, or it's not going to be as effective.
Right. Yeah. Hey, I tell you what. I remember. I don't know about y'all because y'all ever get these big old knots on y'all's necks or your backs or stuff like that? Have all y'all
Every
experienced
muscle
that?
group.
I have a knot on my neck right now that nobody can explain ever at the
Right.
VA.
I
And
have
It
a
comes and goes.
I have an explanation.
Okay.
Do you have fibromyalgia?
Not that I know of.
Fibromyalgia causes knots or nodules in your muscle groups, not just the muscle groups of the back or the neck, but all muscle groups. And a great treatment, if you can handle it, is hold on. One of these amazing tools, if you can see it, you can get one from the VA. It looks like an S curve with
I got
all
one.
these amazing tools. And it works as like a deep tissue massage. You can place it on the knot, minimal pressure, and it releases that knot, allowing your muscle structure to then not be as tense and allow more lengthening in the muscle, allowing more of that bony structure to be aligned and create less pain and many other.
What do you call that device, Sarah?
Good Lord, I don't remember.
So like
Oh,
I
But
would go
I
to
can
what
look it up.
clinic and get that.
Let me Google
Like
it real quick.
yeah,
like what
If,
clinic in the VA would I look for that at?
You
And
if
go
you
like
to
go to
primary.
the physical therapist, I'll go there. The assistant, the physical therapist assistant, she has a metal knife blade that looks like an oversized butter knife. And I always call it. I tell her I want to get knifed, but she goes on my back and she rubs it along the muscle tissues like Sarah's talking about, and she rubs it real slow, and those knots she's talking about, and the blade will catch that knot, and as soon as she catches it, she feels it. She'll take that blade and she massages over that knot. It basically is breaking the knot up,
oh
and she
wow.
massages it until the skin turns like bright red, and then she can only do it for a certain time, and then that's kind of breaking it up, and then she'll move on to the next, and she just keeps going, and then she does that all over my back area.
Can I just do like one of them like hot lava ones they just put on your back and that cure me?
But you got to go down the street for that one.
Well, they put them rocks on you, them real hot rocks on you.
Yeah, yeah. They don't do that at the VA.
No, no.
It's called
At
a
the
trigger
AV.
point. It's a
Yes.
trigger point massage tool. There's a specific name for this S curve one. I can't recall, but if you go to your primary care provider and let them know that you would like to see ortho or just spine specialist, whatever your VA calls it, and ask them to get a point or a trigger point massage tool, and they'll send you to the right individual.
Perfect. Thank you. Because this, I don't know why, like it comes and goes, and it just came back. It's been gone for like a couple of years. I went to an acupuncture one time and it went away, and then it hadn't came back until recently, like the last month.
I am not going to be somebody's dart throwing person. I'm telling you right now. I see
You
all them
can
needles out of them people. It's like, hell no. Hell
you
no.
can
I
also
didn't like
you
it, but
can
it
also
worked.
get
It went away.
acupuncture through community cares. Acupuncture through community cares, just like your chiropractor as well. They're recognizing that.
How do
So
y'all
for
get the
me,
community care part on the acupuncture and stuff like that? That's what I don't
That's
understand.
nicely.
Oh,
then
Yeah.
I did acupuncture once in the VA. They did it. It didn't do me any good.
that's because you
No, I
need
didn't see any good
nails.
with it either.
That's because
Right?
they use big ass nails.
No, they're not.
They're like, the John's back.
Come here.
John's head. That would be my luck, though, John. I'd walk in there and the guy said, all right, just stand, hold your arms up like this, and we'll just start throwing darts at you. And whenever it stops hurting, just let me know.
Well, I mean, we mentioned massage earlier, and in all seriousness, I've never actually gone to and had a professional massage done. I was like,
Why don't you ask the VA to go in and see somebody for that?
You
well,
can get paid.
say again.
I said I got my massage therapy paid for through the VA.
They do.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Where you been, John?
I
Keep
haven't.
up.
Until this conversation, I
Hey, I
never really
need to
thought
know
about
this
it.
too. I've been where John is.
All right, guys. Well, what we're going to do now is we're about to go into the after the show. And so I want to thank everybody for listening. Katie, thank you for coming on. Sarah, Wade, John, I appreciate everybody coming on. But we're going to get more in depth in this in the after the show because I can see the comments are wanting to come out of Wade and John really good here in a little bit. So I want, hey, everybody remember one thing. We're spreading awareness about Gulf War illness. Follow, like us on Facebook. Everybody, go to YouTube, tell your friends. Let's start subscribing. Let's start spreading the word. Y'all have a great night. Thank y'all for coming on. Thank you for listening to Gulf War Side Effects. If you have a story or you would like to share or just come on with any comments or questions, please email me at kevinsimon@gulfwarsideeffects.com.